Yo, we're in the studio, Leon Switch. Today I thought I'd start a tutorial series. I thought I'd show you how I create my basses, where I start, where I end, the process in between. I've got one of these, which is just a normal razor, and I've got one of these, which is a Zoom recorder. It is the H1 handy recorder. I don't know what the quality is like on it. I've used it a few times and really like it. So here we go. This is how I start. Record. There we go. So I've now got like an all-round sound. I noticed initially that I was showing more on the left channel than the right channel, so I thought I'd move it around a bit. So I'm now going to import this into the computer, and I'll speak to you in a minute. We'll go from there. Okay, so I've imported the razor noise into the computer, and I'm now going to use Kontakt to start to process it and to twist it up. So let's import it into Kontakt. Okay, so now let's take the start point up to where we need it. So it'll look. It looks like a stronger signal just there. I quite like that little bit at the beginning as well. Like, there's nothing wrong with imperfections in it. So let's look. Sounds a bit jokeable at the minute. But down there, you get a certain texture that's got potential, and that's all we're looking for, is just potential. So we've got a little click at the beginning, which will just put a little bit of attack to lose that, and then we'll move on. So we want to grab a 3-band EQ, and just on the very last, the post-amp effects, we want to stick a limiter. And what that'll do is it will just, in a minute, the volume's going to come up where we start boosting and cutting the EQs. So we want to then not be driving anything, and the last thing I want is digital distortion or anything, because I just hate that noise. And we also want to get it as clean as possible, so if we've got a smaller level we can always boost it. It's the best way of working, from my eyes, you know. So we've got, so let's start looking at this EQ. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my mod on the EQ. So I've got a 3-band EQ, I'm going to grab my mod. I'm now going to modulate each one of the bands. So it's a 3-band, so we've got 3 lots of LFO going up. I'm going from a frequency 1, frequency 2 and frequency 3. And then we're just going to drop these, like the amounts a little bit. And then we can start playing basically with the LFOs and with the EQ. So let's start boosting. So we've got at the minute straight noise, and we'll start bringing up. So we're a little bit QE. So that's our first band. So we pushed it about 153 Hertz, and quite a bit of gain, and a reasonably fine cue point. So we got a good start. Okay, let's move on. So let's start cutting then band 2. We don't want as much of a cue on band 2, so quite a tight cue. And then let's, yeah, I think we're doing alright. Let's move on to band 3, which is going to be our top end. And let's give this a boost. There you go. We can see we're beginning to take a bit of shape. Still not sounding particularly good right now, but right, we're now going to time up the LFOs. So I'm now setting this to 1/8 notes. so that we're now in sync with the tempo, and I can now start adjusting the times on the LFOs. So we're going to start getting this amalgamation of LFOs going on, which is going to cause us to get hopefully some cool bass noises. Okay, sorry about that. Right, I'm back. Nothing's changed. I'm still in the same place as I was. So we're going to start adjusting the times on the LFOs now, and we're going to get it so that it starts modulating with each other, and we should start to get some cool sort of things going on. So let's have a little look. Right, we've got a bit of release on the amp envelope, which I'm not wanting. That's better. I like the first bit of noise there. I'm also going to add a phaser on, and that's just on the instrument insert effects on Kontakt. I'm going to set the speed to 8 notes again so that we're in time, and that should give us a bit more movement over the overall sound. I'm now going to play with the amounts back on the LFOs and maybe a little bit of the frequencies. Okay, let's try inverting some of the LFOs a bit. Sounds a bit like a peaking, so we can drop the overall level down a little bit. Let's try some different shapes for the LFO. So I'm going triangle. And like anything with this, you have to just keep playing until you get something that you think you can take the start point up, and then you're going to have good cuts or good hits. I like that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go with that for the minute. Right, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to set up Ableton so that I can bounce the track down. So I want my input to be the resampling. I also want to just double check on what pitch I'm playing in, so I'm going to grab the standard analog out so that I can just find out. There's my just gives me a rough guide so that I can be, I know where I'm at. Sweet. Right. We're very slightly out, but I think that basically the razor apparently is in F. Cool. Right, so we can get rid of analog. Stop that from playing. And we now need to draw another note of this in and resample it. So insert MIDI clip. So we've basically got the razor noise minus an octave. So we're now ready to resample the thing in. So I'm going to set up a channel for record, hit the record button. Right, then we're sorted. So we're now got that resample back in, so I can now mute off my Kontakt channel. And what I'm going to do now is just grab my sampler, which is just the standard sampler out of Ableton, the built-in one, which is actually really nice. It's really simple to use, there's nothing complicated about it, and one of the things I really love about it is I can just grab a bit of audio and just drop it straight in the sampler, and then I've got whatever I want. I can now take the start points up, so you now start to see the sound building. Right, so we're going to now process this up. I think we've got some right hits in there. Yeah, potential. So I'm now going to grab my Slate digital, which is just essential. If you don't have this, then you really need it. It's the virtual mix rack, and I use the Revival, which is free when you buy the virtual console collection. I can't emphasize how badass this thing is. Initially you don't really notice any notices apart from maybe a bit of a volume increase and a little bit of separation, but once you get it in, once you get everything with it on, like the separation between all of your elements is just, it's next level. That's just some clever shit. And you can drive it like you can an analog desk. Yeah, that's sounding cool. So I need to now stick a touch of reverb on there just to sit it back in the room a little bit so we're not sounding so all over the place. I'm going to go for just like a small room setting and turn the dry wet down. That gives it just a little bit of life in there, and then I want to stick a chorus on it, which will just widen the thing and make it sound just a bit more entertaining, a bit more spice to it, really, a bit more flavour. So this is the first setting I'll try, which is just a gentle chorus. Okay, we got a bit of a volume increase here, so I'm now going to bring the volume down on the channel. There we go. Let's try a phaser just out of interest. Preferred the chorus. Right. Okay, so we can now widen it slightly. And we can set up our pitch bend so that we can do some funky stuff. And basically, yeah, I quite like that. It's kind of feeling, it's kind of cool. What I've often been doing recently as well is setting up the pitch envelope so that I just at the very beginning of my hits on my basses I get like a bit of a pitch drop, so you get a little bit more impact out of it. I set it up so that it's on like it drops an octave, and I set it up so that it's pretty quick. So at the minute it's too obvious, you can hear it, and that's not the effect I'm after. So if I bring the decay back, if I turn that off, it just adds a touch. A bit of a drop at the beginning of it, and that just gives it a little bit of character. Let's try some more start points. You can start to hear the pitch drop there a bit more. You can start to see how just moving the start point up. And you also seem to get quite a nice metallic texture out of the razor, which I'm kind of feeling. So yeah, I definitely. Just with that pitch drop, I think it becomes just a little bit more aggressive. You get like a more of a. And also, don't obviously forget that you can, once you've got it in the sample, you can now start to reverse things, so you start to get a little. That's lovely. That is basically how I make. There we go. So that is how I make my basses. So whether I start with a Reese, or I start with a vocal, or I start with a pad, or I start with the recorder and I go out and record stuff, this is the method of processing and twisting that I go through with a lot of my sounds. I definitely recommend at least trying. You know, if you haven't got Kontakt, then get a 3-band get 3 EQs and just modulate the bands. You're just creating this movement rather than it being like a definite bass end or a low end or a top end EQ. You're just creating a movement across the sound. Obviously, the more the more movement you've got, and the higher the bigger the spacing is in between, like the EQs. So I suppose if you've got like finer Qs and you've got finer Qs moving around like band passes, then you're going to get more dramatic effects. But definitely have a play, enjoy yourself, and yeah, man, definitely just in. I'm about to start a tune. Definitely big up. Thanks for watching. I hope it was alright. I've not done this kind of thing before, so it'd be interesting to see the results. Yeah, hopefully speak to you soon. Definitely, if you like it, then yeah, let me know, and I'll do some more. If not, then fair enough. Speak to you soon. Bye.